Hi everybody, it's Emily on Sailing Vessel Temptress, and this is our March 2020 adventure log. Well, I think we all know that this has been a weird month for everybody, everywhere. It's certainly been a weird month for us. As you can tell, Clark is not here with me. Clark is down below decks right now resting because he had a little bit of an accident this month. Has nothing to do with the current pandemic situation going around the world. We were just putting up our new canopy, our new awning that runs the full length of the boat, and he was pulling a knot really tight and the string broke and he punched himself in the eye. So he had a little bit of a shiner, but then he started seeing some flashers, and we talked to a doctor. It looks like he could possibly have a detached retina or a partially torn retina, which is a very serious thing. And if we were in the States, we would go right to a doctor and probably get a laser surgery for him, but that's not a possibility now for several reasons. If we were to fly back to the States for some sort of surgery, we wouldn't be able to get back to the Bahamas. So that means we would both have to fly out. We would have to leave the boat here. And we don't know when we could get back to the boat, so we decided we didn't want to do that. We could try to fly to Nassau, but Nassau is pretty much under quarantine. Their borders are closed right now because of the spread of the current virus. So that's not a possibility either. So the next best thing we figure for right now, until travel becomes a little bit more predictable, is for him to just lie down and rest for the most part. So that is what he is doing. He's just lying on the couch, listening to audiobooks, and I'm kind of helping take care of anything else that he needs. So for the next few days, it's been about a week so far, for a few more days I think he's going to keep doing that bed rest thing and see if his eye gets better. Anyway, that's why Clark is not here right now. Where is here? Here is still Georgetown, in the Bahamas, where we have been and where we intend to stay for a while. Things are a little bit weird here right now, but not any weirder than any other place. We have a 24-hour curfew. We are only allowed to go out for essential items such as food and propane and pharmacy and fuel. And on the weekends, there is now going to be a lockdown. So that means we can't leave our residence, which we consider our boat, for any reason at all. People are swimming around their boats, but we're not going to the beaches to walk or get exercise. We're not taking our dinghies out. We're not visiting other boats. We're not doing anything. We're just staying on our boat. Which, I mean, we would probably stay on our boat for the most part anyway, but it's frustrating because now we have to stay on our boat and we don't know when we're going to be able to get off again. So just a little bit different. But overall, other than Clark's eye, life is pretty good right now. So at this point right now, we haven't been off the boat in 2 weeks. At that point, there were about 10 cases of the virus in the Bahamas. Now there are close to 50, between 40 and 50 cases. So we've been kind of keeping isolated. A couple of people have brought us groceries and different things like that, but we've pretty much just been sitting on the boat. Which means our budget for this month, our expenses for this month, were very low. We always try to spend between $500 and $1,000 a month is where our normal range is. And this month we spent $375 on groceries. We've been eating a lot of our dry goods and back stock, but we could anyway. We were getting our meats and our cheeses and our produce from ashore. Had $75 for internet like we normally do out here. We spent about $46 on fuel this month. Spent $6 on disposing of trash, and really that's it. There was no eating out this month. There weren't any social things to spend money on. So $502 is our total for this month. That brings our monthly average to whatever that number says, wherever it is, because I forgot to do the average before I sat down to do this video. But that's our monthly average. So, the next thing we normally talk about is our projects, and because of the current situation, you would think that we'd be getting lots of projects done, because we're kind of limited to our boat space right now, but because of Clark's eye, we haven't been doing a lot of projects, actually. And the biggest thing I've been spending time on has been the radio, the VHF cruiser's net in the morning. There's kind of a social, check-in time that we usually have every morning at 8 a.m., and that's kind of evolved into the news, into local restrictions, things that are happening. I'm in direct contact with the island administrator who talks with the Prime Minister, so whenever the boating community has a question, I can get back to him, he gets back to us, and so that's become kind of like a part-time job. And in addition to that, to help encourage people to stay on their boats and stay at home, we have come up with a schedule every week of social events on the VHF radio. So we pick a channel and people do talks about fishing, or they have a joke night, or we tell stories. We've been doing these murder mysteries, which are really fun. We do trivia night, so it's actually a lot of fun. I think it's really done a good job of building community among the boaters, even though they can't get out of their boats right now. So that's what I've been spending the most time on. A little bit of freelance work also. I've been sailing my dinghy around the harbor when I can, when we're not in full lockdown. I just kind of do laps around the bay and try to do, go around each boat and practice my maneuvering and stuff like that. The dinghy has been a really cool thing to have because we don't need any fuel for it. It's kind of like going out for a walk. It's a nice thing to have. Our daily life is waking up and eating meals and doing the VHF radio stuff, and that's kind of about it. I started doing some bread baking. Life is kind of boring, to be honest, in terms of projects, in terms of going out and doing social things or exploring. We're not doing any of that, so it's a lot of just kind of living and eating and relaxing and trying to absorb all the information that's being thrown at us and to stay calm and keep things in perspective, really. There are a lot of people that I think want to leave the Bahamas right now, but there's a lot of uncertainty about where they can go, what they can do, the availability of fuel on the way out. For now, our plan is to stay here and just wait, really. Just wait and see what happens. So daily life is a lot of just keeping in perspective that we can only make decisions one day at a time. So in terms of the best part of this month, I think it's been the VHF radio community that we've been building and the activities that we've been coordinating. I think that's been a lot of fun. Sometimes you just have really quiet, kind of depressing days, and to have everybody gather on one channel of the radio and hang out and laugh and share stories and connect with each other is really, really kind of a beacon of hope and positivity right now for all of us. We're just trying to take it a day at a time. The worst thing this month has definitely been Clark's eye. I mean, he's pretty much temporarily paralyzed right now. I know he's very concerned about losing vision in his eye, which he should be. I mean, that's a scary thing to lose your vision, so he's being extra cautious right now to not move that eye, to not irritate that eye, to not stress that eye, and I hope that he continues to do that as long as he needs to. Hopefully, if we end up going back to the States this year, even temporarily, he can see a specialist and get anything repaired that needs to be repaired. But for now, it's just hanging out and doing a lot of nothing. Every month we talk about intentional living, and I don't know, I guess we've been living intentionally. We've been pretty intentional about sort of stepping into kind of a leadership role of communicating with the community and delivering information and answering questions and delivering enough information but not too much information. We want to keep people informed but not make people panic or not make people we just don't want to feed into the negativity, you know. So I think keeping things social is good. A few years ago in a leadership training course, we had to write kind of like our personal mission statements, and I remember mine was that I wanted to make the world more joyful and sustainable and interconnected by building community wherever I go. That's kind of in a nutshell what makes me tick and what makes me happy, and I feel really good that I've been able to help do that here in Elizabeth Harbor, here in Georgetown. I feel like people here still feel like they're part of a community, even though we haven't, shaken anyone's hand in 2 weeks or given anybody a hug in 2 weeks. We've still been able to connect with each other, and it still kind of feels like we're this community, and that feels really good. One thing that's been hard to do, and that we're conscious of but not super intentional about, is that we used to have this balance of kind of being extroverted and then coming back to the boat and being introverted and kind of having an active life and then a more relaxed life, and there was this balance, there was this give and take between the two of them. But now being in the same place for a long period of time and having a limited number of activities that we can do, it's just hard to get motivated to do something that's really active or involves a lot of work. Like, there's some freelance work that I have in my lap that I kind of keep procrastinating on because I just don't have that normal, like, sit down, do a bunch of work, and then I can go, you know, walk on the beach or do something to exercise my body. And just trying to rebalance that, I guess. If anybody has any tips about what you're doing while you're in quarantine or isolation or lockdown or whatever the word is where you are, if you have any ideas about how to make that switch between working and not working, I'd love to hear about that. Because I think that's an important thing, and looks like all of us are going to have to deal with something like that for the foreseeable future anyway. I think that's really it for this month. I feel like I'm not super happy and joyful and positive as much as we normally are. Again, it's just kind of a weird time. But we wanted to keep you guys updated. I guess thank yous this month. I wanted to thank Dale on Sixth Girl. He's another boat here in the harbor who's been doing a lot to help cultivate community here. He's the one who's been doing the murder mysteries. He runs the Facebook group that keeps everybody organized and keeps rumors and pessimistic posts and things like that under control to keep everybody having accurate information, having up-to-date information, all that sort of stuff. We've kind of become the co-mayors of the harbor right now. I don't think any of us wanted that to happen, but it's sort of happened, so he's really stepped up to it as well. So I want to give a shout out to him, and thank you to our viewers and our patrons, especially those who've sent us messages, like checking up on us, wanting to know what we're up to too. We've had a few patrons. We have a patron level where you can talk to us every month, and we've had a few people actually call us and talk about retirement and financial things with Clark, or talk about boating things. So thanks to our patrons for kind of keeping a virtual community going as well. And I think that's about it. I guess to summarize this month, it is a little difficult being here, dealing with uncertainty, dealing with this injury that Clark has. Overall, I'm pretty thankful that even though I'm stuck on a 50-foot boat right now, I can look out and see this beautiful blue water and these blue skies. The weather's actually been quite awesome, and we have all the food we need. If you watched our prepper video, you know we've got enough stuff stocked here that we're gonna be fine for a while. Even though we can go in to get groceries and can go in to, visit the shore, we don't have to, and that's probably best for everybody. It's best for our health, and best that we're not, carrying a virus around potentially to the people in the Bahamas here who may have limited resources. So, yeah, we're just we're here, we're alive, we're mostly well, and we will continue to keep you updated, I suppose. That's probably all there is for this month. Thank you guys for watching. Again, leave in the comments, let me know what you guys are up to, how you're dealing with everything that's going on in the world today, and lots of love from me and Clark, who's downstairs. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.